I'll miss that big chair.
I'm with Broome County historian Gerald Smith at the local history center at the Broome County Library, and I wanted to ask you. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you,
today.
John.
Now, I wanted to ask you about the big fire that we had this weekend, because it was really a tragedy. I think that building burned.
Yeah, I think most of our local residents know it as Pa's Woodshed, especially those of us who went shopping or went with our parents or grandparents or on our own in the 70s on up through the 90s. But that building has a long and rich history.
Right. And it long before it was Pa's Woodshed, it had other incarnations. What were they?
Yeah, it was originally the Binghamton Chair Company. In the turn of the last century, this area had about 20 different firms manufacturing all different types of furniture.
Oh.
Binghamton Chair Company started in 1875, and they were growing so much that they built that building in 1892 as a brand new headquarters. It had multiple stories, it had lumber sheds, and they turned out all sorts of chairs and rockers and typical turn of the century furniture, and they lasted there until 1925, and then it was empty for a while. During World War II, that was the home to Link Aviation.
Really?
Yeah, until they bought the building that was originally Dryback's, and then what many people remember as their headquarters along the Brandywine Highway. They worked out of there, turning out thousands of flight simulators, and then they owned that building until the mid-1960s and used it as a warehouse operation. And then, of course, Pa's Woodshed came along in the late 1970s.
And I also remember it as there was a bar there, the Establishment.
Yeah, there was a bar on one of the wings that were off the main building. It was the Establishment. It was Wizards. It went through a number of names. It was an alternative lifestyle bar. And later in its life, it was a gentleman's club, which is a nice, kind word of calling it a strip club.
A strip club, right.
Right.
Now, I remember I had it for sale at one time, and the construction materials were just amazing. I mean, just big, huge columns of walnut. I mean, gigantic trees that they must have gotten to make this building.
Yeah, most of these brick buildings, these industrial buildings you see, are so well constructed, which is why they've lasted well past their original life, because it's multiple layers of brick walls as firewalls and separations, huge solid wood floors.
Yeah.
Inside, usually a freight elevator to move the goods in and out, and quite often, as in this case, located right near the railroad tracks so they could move their goods and materials right in and out of the building itself.
You know, it's really that was a big chair.
Yes, it was. In fact, it was the nation's largest chair. It was 26 feet 9 inches of a solid wood chair they put on top of Pa's Woodshed. In fact, in 1979, it made the Guinness Book of World Records as the nation's largest chair. So I think a lot of our residents automatically know the building by that was the building with the big chair.
The big chair. And you knew you were in the kingdom, the Broome County.
That's right. I used to tell people that you could see it for about a mile around, so you knew you were always close to home as soon as you saw that chair along Interstate 81.
Yeah. Well, Gerald, thank you for this information. It's once again too bad that we've lost another building like this, and I hope that we can see you again soon and give us some more information.
I'll be glad to, John. My pleasure.
Very much. By the way, this footage that we're looking at was done by our producer, James Graham, from his house. He was sitting on top of the world up there on Bigelow Street, and boom, he had the HD camera. That is high definition footage of that fire.